All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome on back to another edition of PHLY Union Podcast. Well, first off, we're probably going to say it a couple times today, but happy holidays to all. I guess it's our Christmas or holiday edition of the PHLY Union Podcast, dead in the off season. Of course, I am JP Zapata, joined as always with Renee Washington, and we will have shortly here our lead writer, Larry Henry, in a little bit. But let's start off with Renee, which I'm loving the attire. She's very Christmassy. I like it. Renee, what's going on?
Well, I'm great, JP. I'm excited. Christmas is just days away.
That's right.
I have to go home and finish wrapping the rest of my gifts. Today is a very holiday festive day. I'll be wearing more holiday stuff tomorrow as well. You know, actually every day from here on out, I'm wearing Christmas stuff. I've already been jamming out to my Christmas playlist. I was talking to Tyler, who's the Scrooge, and I'm the complete opposite. And he's not all about the Christmas music. I am. I'm blasting it as much as possible. And JP, you had me a little bit in my feels because you surprised all of us with some presents, and I teared up a little bit. I was already kind of tearing up because Vince showed me a sad, sappy video, which takes absolutely nothing for me to tear up for. So I'm feeling great. I love that I'm seeing Babita. You were first. Thank you so much for the compliment, by the way. I appreciate that. And also, Eugene Krabs, welcome. I would love to give you $500 billion. I'd give everybody $500 billion if I could. But all I can give is a happy holidays. And JP, how are you feeling this holiday season?
I feel great. Obviously, my Santa Claus this year is Ernst Tanner because I'm asking him for some gifts. That's really all I need this Christmas. I don't need much of anything else. But no, it's a fun time. I won't lie to everyone. Of course, I'm here physically, but my mind is in Colombia. As you know, my parents are down there, so I'm getting like WhatsApp pictures and messages, audio messages of what's going on, the party every night in Colombia. But I love this time of year. It's special no matter where you're at. But the most important part is being around family and friends, and that's what I love about this part of the holidays. It's all about family and friends.
It is, and it happens so fast. It moves by so quickly, which is why I always say you have to cherish and celebrate every part of it, especially if you have a birthday. Let's say your birthday is next Wednesday, December 27th, for example. You have to make sure that you're cherishing your birthdays and celebrating. And that's Tyler Zulli, whose birthday is next Wednesday, December 27th. And I've been getting on Tyler, and I will continue to tell everybody, celebrate holidays as much as you can. Even if it's like I'm all about your birthday. Let's say it's December 27th. You celebrate it all December because there's no guarantee of how things are going to look the next year. I'm not talking about just in a bad way, even in a good way. Like, you could have a job and you relocate for your job and now you're no longer around your usual, family or friends. You could have, anything major could change in your life. So enjoy the now. Enjoy the now.
I agree. 100%.
All right, well, let's enjoy the now with our buddy Larry Henry. I'd love to hear Larry's thoughts on the holiday season. Larry, who's typically in with us in person on Thursdays, joining us today virtually. Larry's got the holiday gear going also. A little bit of a blur there for you there, though, Larry, but we can see you, and I hope we can hear you. Oh, and I can see the okay. What does your sweatshirt say? I think it's a sweater, actually.
Yeah, so hey everyone. So obviously I'm a big Simpsons fan.
Nice.
And it's Moe from The Simpsons. And he's got a pretty miserable looking face. It says, "Oh how fun it is." So so I'm not a Scrooge. I'm just I love I do enjoy the holidays, and I love The Simpsons, so why not piece two of my favorite things together into one shirt that's very, very nice and comfy at this time of year as well, because it's freezing out. So
I love that. It is the season to be comfortable.
Yes.
And be able to show off, all your favorite things. I know Babita's also saying minority parents love their WhatsApp. She's saying my Indian parents are on it 24/7, sending the most random stuff. I love that. WhatsApp is great. It allows you to be able to text and call and FaceTime in a very convenient way. All you need is Wi-Fi.
Gone are the days. My mom used to walk into like the Mexican mart that was down the street from her house, and she would go in to get the minute card so you can call back over. And
Oh
once the
my
minutes are over, that was it. So now
gosh.
having WhatsApp is so much more convenient for sure.
Wow.
So Babita gets it. Babita gets it.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Wow. That's wild. Things have changed for the better, so it makes it easier to connect. Listen, let's stay on the excitement of the last week. A lot has happened since our last show. And I guess let's start with Chris Donovan. Exciting news that we heard that Chris Donovan is going to stay with the Union as he signs an extension with the Union. And with that deal, Chris Donovan now has the opportunity. His contract runs through the 2025 MLS season with options for 2026-27. And Chris Donovan, I chuckled at this, but had a breakthrough season, as some may call it, because he had a goal and an assist in 18 appearances in the regular season, but also scored game winners versus Querétaro FC in the Leagues Cup quarterfinal, as well as, of course, New England Revolution in the playoffs that we, of course, remember so vividly. And so Donovan, gets an extension. We're seeing some offseason moves for the Union. What were your first thoughts on this move when you guys saw it, guys?
Yeah, I mean, for Chris Donovan, I think that he's well deserved. So it's an extension for this year with options for 26 and 20 or through 25 with options 26 and 27. So Chris, coming off the big year that he had, obviously, like the Union are going to give him a little bit more vote of confidence, which I do agree. I just don't know what exactly Chris Donovan is going to be. Like when I watch him, all I really see is a really quality MLS backups forward for years to come. Obviously, we're going to have to wait and see there, but I just don't think that the Union should settle what they have already. Remember, Carranza, we all know that he's going to have his spurt of amazing play where teams in Europe are going to be interested in that. So I'm sure those rumors are going to come up again. I don't know if it's going to happen during the winter. We'll have to wait and see, but summer definitely there's going to be some more interest in Julian Carranza, so you do have to plan with that. So I think that Chris, this is a move more so for the Union to kind of, congratulate him and give him that boost of confidence that he's going to need further here in 24. But I think that down the line, this is a position that definitely could use a little bit more quality.
Yeah, Larry. I mean, I agree with you, JP, and I'm curious to get your thoughts, Larry, in a moment. But, when I saw this, first of all, the fact he's a Drexel University grad, and I know, of course, the Union drafted a Penn standout as well, which we'll get to in a moment. But it is always great to see those local talents that haven't been able to elevate their game. Someone that got CAA Player of the Year honors in 2021 and has had a great career in Philly alone. And I know Ernst Tanner was talking about him and just saying how Chris has capitalized on every opportunity given, has played an important role in games of consequence, and that he's committed to further developing. And, you see that. He seems like just that solid role player, wants to get better, wants to make the most of his minutes, and is more of that depth piece, as you talk about, that he'll be able to give you some good minutes at forward. If he can score some goals or help be a contributor in the attack, that always helps as well. But I don't see him as someone that's going to be, a breakthrough in the sense of a starter, a main staple, but just someone that's going to be a plug-in piece where needed, Larry. I don't know your thoughts on this move. Babita's saying solid move. Do you agree? Solid move just to re-sign Chris Donovan, especially after last season?
Yeah, I think that Chris Donovan definitely was deserving of a longer stay with the Union. He's been a really hardworking forward, maybe not the most threatening in terms of just scoring goals and getting assists, but overall, I think it was a good move for the club because, like JP had said too about Carranza and his future with the team, we don't know how long he could be with the Union. It's good to have some depth scoring, and Chris Donovan did that this past season, scored pretty much in every competition that he played in. So definitely, I think a good move for him, a good move for the Union, and rewarding to see, right? Because again, like you said, Renee, he's a local player, played collegiately in Philadelphia, and I just think that it's great to see when franchises reward players like that.
Yeah, and just to add to that real quick, I do think that this team could bode well with a veteran option as well coming off the bench.
Yeah.
I've always pleaded that a guy like Kai Kamara is like the best example that I can think of. Obviously a vet in the MLS, but that's a guy where if you need him for a spot star coming off in the second half for 30, 20 minutes or so, that's someone that you definitely can rely upon to get you a goal. So I think that going forward, that is something the Union could look at, because if you're looking at depth, obviously you saw Quinn and Chris Donovan getting a lot of those minutes coming off the bench. So if you're looking for that quick change of pace, and there are those times where Ura or Carranza are not really performing or not scoring those goals, it would really bode well to have that veteran guy who can ease things down in with the attack, and also you can rely upon on scoring a goal, whether that be in the league or outside the league. But a veteran option would definitely be great for this team.
Yeah, I agree. And of course, that's something we've talked a lot about. That's still the hope, is that with all of these moves, whether it's an extension or signings or super draft, that the hopeful goal is that the Union will, of course, bring someone in that's that veteran piece, because that is absolutely needed. Now, I want to give a congratulations to the 3 guys that were drafted. Excuse me. So as we talk about Drexel's standout, well, also in Philly, not too far away, right? They share Chestnut Street and Walnut Street in Philly. UPenn campus has a standout of their own in Stas Korzeniowski. Now, I've covered Stas in his time with Penn, and he's a solid forward as we talk about just the piece. And this is the tweet that the Union had going out as they were going to the super draft, welcoming in their new addition in Stas. Stas was selected 53rd overall in the MLS SuperDraft on Tuesday, and at just 20 years old, 50 matches that he appeared in with UPenn, 35 starts in his 3 years with the Quakers, had 20 goals, 15 assists, and also someone that's been named First Team All-Region, Ivy League Offensive Player of the Year, First Team All-Ivy, Philly 6 Soccer All-Star, a number of different accolades that he has under his name, and this is just one of the latest that he adds to them. The important thing for Stas that I like, guys, is his size that he brings, because Stas has, I think he's like 6 feet tall is what they have him listed as officially. It's always interesting, but he is a true 6-footer, and he's like a solid, stocky 6-foot forward. So he has the ability to hold balls up. He can make runs, and he's great in finishing around the net. And with Penn, I think that's what always stood out to me when I watched him play, is he's truly that forward you have to keep an eye on. Solid aerial presence, solid just making runs towards net, and also being able to find the back end of a cross, a service, a pass. And just has a true nose for a goal. So I was excited to hear that he got selected 53rd overall. It was a cool moment, and I was kind of like, ooh, I covered you in college, and now we're talking about you in the MLS also.
That is always fun. It's funny because Vince came up to us today and asked us about the draft and if they were going to be anything of that could produce for us later on the line. It's funny because the other sports in America, the draft is where you get a lot of your talent, right?
Oh, yeah.
Here in the MLS, it's not the same. So it's interesting, trying to explain, this guy may be something for us down the line. And, we've hit on draft picks. You look at Andre Blake, Jack Elliott, Ray Gaddis. Those are some of the draft picks that we actually have hit on. So who knows? Maybe one of these 3 picks that we selected here could be a depth piece or someone of service of us down the line. But they're going to have to go through something what these academy kids go through that development, go through the trenches, and make their name known during training. That's where it all comes down to.
Oh, yeah, for sure, Larry. I mean, what are your thoughts on someone like Stas being added into the mix for the Union?
Yeah, I was actually pretty shocked that they drafted somebody, to be honest. Because we've seen them trade their picks in the past. We've seen trade their picks in the past, and obviously we know Ernst and Jim. But I think Stas will be a great addition to the team, right? Really good production at Penn, a lot of honors, like you said, Renee, in the Ivy League. And again, we don't know kind of what this forward group is going to look like this time next year or going into 2025. So I think this is a great opportunity for him to obviously grow with this group, learn with these guys. Probably even get opportunities with Union 2 and MLS Next Pro, which we've seen a lot of these guys do, right? Chris Donovan obviously played there. Jack McGlynn played there. Quinn Sullivan. The list kind of goes on. And I think that's great because that you're playing every week. You're playing not only against guys your own age, but also first-team players for other teams that might be dropping down, trying to get minutes. So I think a great pick for them. Getting forward depth is always key, right? Because if you have some injuries here and there, you don't know who's going to be in the mix. Obviously, Champions Cup this coming season, Leagues Cup again, Open Cup, we'll see kind of what happens there. But still, it's gonna be a lot of games for the Union again this year, and the depth's definitely going to be needed.
Yeah, yeah. And one other fun fact for you guys about Stas is he also went to the same high school as me.
Hey.
Yeah, so I know Jose's putting his correct
Hey.
stats, his correct information in the chat. Yes, he's 6'4". I said 6-footer, so yes, that includes 6'4" too. But for Stas, he graduated from the Pennington School, which is where I went,
Nice.
and had a ton of different like prep accolades, Trentoni accolades. And I remember, I mean, 7 or 8 years after I graduated from high school, making me feel a little old. But it's great because there's a lot of soccer players that have come through Pennington on the men's and women's side that have gone on to play professionally and still are. And Stas, coolly enough, gets added to that list.
Soccer
So,
powerhouse. Huh?
yeah, we have had so many players that have come through Pennington that play at the professional level and are still doing so. So great to see Stas repping my high school as a Red Raider to be able to go on and play in the MLS. And Larry, we'll get your thoughts on the other two before we move along here. In Zachary Bohane and Francesco Montali, and apologies if I'm saying his last name incorrectly for Bohane, but selected 63rd overall for Zachary and 82nd overall for Francesco. So before we get into their specific college stats, take a look at Zachary's information as he was tweeted out as the 63rd overall pick as well. And at Stanford University, not a school that I attended, guys, appeared in 35 matches, 9 goals, 13 assists in 2 seasons, led the team in goals with 8 and assists with 11, and total points in 2023. A standout, and just as a sophomore, as a young guy making that jump to the MLS in Bohane. And then on the other side for Francesco Montali, another one that's going to be able to add some depth in nets. As a goalkeeper, Francesco selected 82nd overall, and at 23 years old, racked up 149 saves, 47 appearances, and 47 starts in his 3 years at Boston University. I am a Patriot League alum. I did coach at Lehigh University.
Hey.
So I'm like, I love all the little connections. The sports world's very small. But out of BU, he had a great career as well. Did have different accolades: an All-American first teamer, a 2-time Patriot League goalkeeper of the year, a U.S. coaches All-Atlantic region first team. The list goes on and on for Patriot League as well as national and regional honors for him. So, with that, the Union pick up a couple different pieces. You pick up a goalkeeper, you pick up a midfielder in Zachary, and you pick up a forward in Stas. And as we all mentioned, and Larry, I'll start off with you, they actually made draft picks, which is something that we don't always see from the Philadelphia Union, where they actually selected guys. With these two and a midfielder and a goalkeeper piece, what were your thoughts, Larry, when you first saw the news go through?
Yeah, I mean, overall, I thought it was a good job done in the team. Like you said, Renee, just kind of picking pieces all throughout the formation, right? Goalie, or a forward. Both is young. He didn't have tons of maybe college experience. Has a high ceiling, from the YouTube clips and the highlight tapes that I've watched of him. He's very clever with the ball, crafty with the ball, and I think more experience in next pro will probably get him kind of well seasoned for a longer MLS career. Montali was a kind of a shock because the Union did draft Holden Trent last year's draft as a goalie, and now this year they pick another goalie 2 years in a row. But obviously, Joe being re-signed, right? So you have Andre Blake, you have Holden Trent, and now you have Montali, and then you have probably some academy kids in the mix as well that we saw with Union too. So there's definitely going to be kind of a lot of jostling for that number 2 spot, whether it's Holden Trent, whether it's Montali, whether it's somebody who we don't see, someone kind of comes out of nowhere from the academy. But I think getting depth in all those areas is important, right? Because they're going to have a big schedule in 2024, a lot of games. You don't know what could happen, knock on wood, with injuries and stuff. So, but I think it was really good draft and 3 guys that I think that Union fans will really enjoy for years to come.
It's interesting because the routes of the MLS has changed a lot over the years, right? It used to be you look Clint Dempsey's an MLS draft pick for the New England Revolution, and you saw what the career turned out for him. But now the preferred route is to start at a young age, be noticed by these academies and these clubs, and move on with that youth team, and eventually you're signed by the senior team. That's the hope here. As Jose is mentioning here in the comments about Boheen, if he shows up to preseason, he could null his eligibility for NCAA here, and that's a tough part here because a lot of the Larry mentioned about the Union not drafting players. A lot of that has to do with because we have really good kids here in the homegrown system where it's like, we don't really need to draft because we got really good players. And sometimes these draft picks aren't as good as some of these 14, 15, 16-year-old kids. So it is always tough for some of these kids. But the Montali one's interesting because the goalkeeper position in general for the Union is interesting going in this year. Andre obviously has that locked down. But since Matt Freese is gone, what's the future looking like for that position? Now, Holden Trent, you saw some nice athletic ability in training and warm-ups. But other than that, not much vote of confidence, I would say, from the Union. You saw a lot of Joe Bendick, where a lot of fans, you remember that time where Andre was injured in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
A lot of fans were asking to see what Holden Trent could do in a big-time match, and you never really got to see that. And you don't have Bendick here. I do expect him to go with the veteran route here, or at least an old, like someone in their 20s at least, for the backup goalkeeper position behind Andre Blake. But now it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of competition, which always brings out the best in players. So we'll see if Montali, when he comes here, if he can compete as well. But I'm still holding out, holding Shrine. I did like what I saw, so I'll wait to see.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. And Larry, I'm excited as you continue to write articles. And for everybody that's tuning in, Larry's doing a great job pumping out articles, just keeping us up to date on what's going on with whether it's SuperDraft picks or the re-signing or anything else that's happening around the Union, as well as schedule releases. So, Larry, as we get ready to let you go, keep up the awesome work. And also, happy holidays to you, buddy. We'll see you very soon, but Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you and your family. And I know there's a cold going around your household, so I hope everybody's feeling better and hope you're all feeling well and can enjoy this holiday season.
Bye, Larry.
All right. Well, Larry, who always does a fantastic job. Thank you, Larry. Thank you. Yes. Make sure you guys check out the work that Larry is doing. Some fantastic pieces that he's pumping out, giving you all the updates around the team, all that's going on around soccer, honestly. And even as we talk about Union 2, whether it's the senior team, Union 2, or not other things, Larry's keeping you in the loop. And let me keep you in the loop on something else that's going to help you out, and that's Rocket Money. Yes, Eugene Krabs, you are correct. Rocket Money is a great place to make sure that you have a personal finance app that's so right on your phone, right in your pocket, that helps you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills. The beauty about Rocket Money, and as someone that uses them myself, they give you alerts. If you have a refund, if you have a subscription, if you have a charge that's been made to your cards that they don't recognize, they will let you know. So making sure that you're helping to take care of your finances. And as somebody that checks her finances every day, and I'm constantly looking at, what's been taken out, what's happening. I'm looking at updates. I'm looking at everything. Rocket Money simplifies that process for you. So over at Rocket Money, they do a great job, and they have over 5 million users that they help save their members an average of $720 per year. And they also have helped with $500 million in canceled subscriptions. So they'll even communicate to those subscriptions for you. If you want to get rid of that $10.99 charge or that $2 charge, you're not sure where it's coming from, they will actually take that on themselves and get rid of those unwanted subscriptions for you. So stop wasting money on things that you don't use. Stop wasting money on things that you don't want to use anymore, and cancel those unwanted subscriptions by going over to rocketmoney.com/PHLY. Again, that's rocketmoney.com/PHLY. And Rocket Money does a great job helping you save, which is so important, especially during the holidays. I do want to go back to what the conversation was about the super drafts and even the process for the MLS. There were a couple different nuggets of information you guys shared. Make sure you guys are hitting that thumbs up button for sure while you're in here enjoying the conversation as well. So starting with the point of I'm going to start with the draft specifically before we even get into who the Union drafted. Now, as somebody that's gone through that process, I do understand there's a lot of moving pieces. And I think it's great that soccer has evolved to a point where you now have 14, 15, 16-year-olds on the male and female side that are able to play professionally. I remember talking about the NWSL. They just launched that you can have high school athletes that can play in the NWSL. in my opinion, if you're talented enough, why continue playing at the high school level or at the collegiate level, getting undertrained, unfortunately, sometimes. Maybe you're even in an environment that's not allowing you to grow and get better. Whereas if you can play with the professionals where you can compete, you can get that high level training that matches where you are right now and also have an opportunity to have the proper investment in your skills. It's needed. But then on the other side of it, I know there's been controversies from everything, NBA, MLS, whatever, of if it doesn't pan out, can you go back? And I know that's tough. I know Jose was mentioning it in the chat a little bit about, that does make it so that he's unable to go back to Stanford's, and go play with Stanford if you go into preseason. And to be honest, it's a tough thing to wrap your head around. Like, oh wait, there's no fallback option. I know in the WNBA specifically, they launched something where you can put your name in for the draft, but you can still, if you don't get drafted or you decide not to go play, you can still return back to your college. But in my opinion, once you start training with that professional team, even if you don't make it into preseason, it actually makes sense to me not to be able to go back. Right. So as someone that went through preseason, it's a totally different type of training. It's a totally different level. And as we know, the NCAA especially is very specific on those other opportunities. You can go play with your country in the Olympics and the World Cup. You can go do that. But going and playing with a professional team and then going back is a problem because, as we know, I'm sure there would be people that would take advantage of that. And they'd go put their name in the hat because, to be honest, you can get into preseason without being drafted. So they might put their name in, go get into preseason, get a couple weeks training with their local team, and then go back. And there would be people that would abuse that opportunity. So I kind of like it. I mean, it makes sense. If you're good enough to get invited into preseason, if that doesn't work out, go play overseas, go play somewhere else, because there would be people that would take advantage and abuse that system for sure.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong. Obviously, we have 2/3 of the PHLY Phillies podcast. If you're a high school kid and you get drafted, can't you then go back into the draft, get re-entered in the draft?
So you have to make a decision.
Yeah.
If you're gonna if you get selected and you're gonna go to that team, that's your forfeit of collegiate eligibility.
Exactly.
You can choose to not sign, though. There's been plenty of players who were drafted like 20th round out of high school and then play in college a year, play in college 2 years, get drafted in the 3rd round, bonus pool money, all that kind of stuff. So you can make that decision to not sign, but once you do sign, that's your forfeiture of collegiate
And Tyler,
availability.
that exactly is why I think it makes sense, because once you sign, you're saying I'm making that commitment to take the next step. And you can't then just decide to go back and play in college. There are a lot of athletes that will put their name in the hat, especially in a league like baseball, where you have the ability to make the decision to see, okay, what is my draft stock? Where am I going to get selected? If they don't feel like they got selected high enough or, didn't get the money that they wanted, now they might decide I'm going to go back to college, continue getting better, and then try again. So I like the ability to at least give them that choice, because that hasn't always been the case. It's been a situation where you had to wait until you graduated, or you had to wait until, whatever. Now you have the choice. Then there's the other alternatives: minor leagues, G League, playing in overseas for soccer, playing on like the Union 2 team, the MLS Next pipeline. There's other steps that also give them options. So I love the options, but I also love you have to draw the line somewhere. Yeah. And I think that it makes sense to me to give players the option, but then not allow them to abuse that said option.
Yeah. I'm just watching to see what Tyler's saying here. So,
I probably could just use my words.
I was going to say, use your words,
I was
kiddo.
intrigued because it looked like it was pretty good.
The NHL is the only league in America that allows you to retain your collegiate eligibility. So, like, for example, Cutter Gauthier is still playing at Boston University, even though the Flyers own his contract rights.
Could come back to the playoffs too, but that's a topic for another podcast.
Well, the NHL hockey pipeline in general is a little bit different and behind and off, I would say, because a lot of guys don't even go to college. Instead, they'll go play, what is it, the hockey?
Play ECHL or
they'll
OHL.
go play in those other leagues. I guess you can say the same about soccer technically. It's just there's different options, and it doesn't have to be the traditional go to college, play for 4 years, graduate, and then go pro. You can go play in a different league and then make that decision. So what I like about these draft picks is I think it provides you with, for each of these guys that the union brought in specifically, you now have a chance to work with them.
Yeah.
Someone like Francesco, the plan's not for him to come in and I mean, obviously everyone's competing for a spot, but not to come in and take over as goalie. But now you have the chance. He's 23 years old. He's had a solid career at Boston University, which is a strong program. Now you have a chance to go in there and learn.
For sure.
You have a few guys ahead of you. You're in the mix. You're in the training. And so I think it makes sense to me that these aren't pieces we're expecting to see make an impact immediately. These are pieces that are going to be able to just work. We know the union are all about that development. Work in the system, get them better, and then see how they can compete and fight a couple years from now.
Yeah. Look, I think you guys are bringing up really good points, and what I want to bring up too, because like I know in Philly we don't value draft picks in the MLS SuperDraft in general, but it is still a really good route if you want to make it professionally, not only in the United States but worldwide as well. I mean, I look at Jack Harrison, the dude is starting for Everton. That's an MLS draft pick.
Yeah.
And Chicago is still kicking themselves for trading him away to NYCFC, but like. Not every player is born with that talent, right?
Yeah.
Some players have to work harder for it. In college, you may not get that right tutelage, but you can put yourself in that situation. You look at Duncan McGuire this year for Orlando. My man put himself in the right situation. They sent over Erkan Kara, the guy who they bought for solid money, who was going to be their striker. Duncan outworked him, and then they sent them off in the summer back to Turkey, I believe. But the point is, the MLS SuperDraft should not go anywhere. And if you are a player that's willing to bet on yourself, it's definitely a viable route. And I think that, teams like obviously the Union, they have their beliefs, but other teams can find ways to take advantage of the MLS SuperDraft, and there can be some good players out there.
Yeah, for sure. First of all, it's hilarious, Babita and Eugene, you guys are going back and forth in the chat. I'm cracking up over here. But I will say the other thing that we have to keep in mind is the United States, in terms of sports, is just behind. In other countries, you can go look at Messi. I mean, you have teenagers, you have 14, 15-year-olds going pro, and it's been fine that they play internationally. And also even other sports. And I always bring up like gymnastics, tennis, some of the smaller quote-unquote sports that have their professional athletes are younger. Yeah. It's just that in the United States, there's this need to... Like, even obviously our education is different, like university versus college, like so many things are different compared to other countries. But, we have this mindset of like age is what we judge everything off of. And in other places, it's your talent.
Yeah.
If you're 10 years old and you're talented enough to play on a U18 team, you're going to play on that U18 team.
For sure.
Whereas here, it's like, whoa, you're playing up too much. You're going to be outmatched. So it's, I think, a sign that not just the MLS, but soccer and sports in the United States are finally catching on. I mean, even when the NBA launched and rolled out more around like their G League and things like we're seeing more opportunity come into fruition that now gives, as you mentioned, athletes a chance to pursue whatever path makes most sense. And honestly, I'm a little jealous. I know Eugene Krabs, you're saying you're jealous in the chat. In all seriousness, I am very jealous because when I was coming through, there were not these opportunities. And I just, I'm celebrating my 10-year anniversary from college this May, so I'm coming up on a decade since I graduated, but that's really not that long ago. And the opportunities that were there when I was coming out and the NWSL was in the second season, even the MLS was still, in a growth period where like, I remember Ryan Richter going to the Union was such a big deal because the Union were still so young at that point. But now you have so many other teams and options that the options for us were like, you either make one of the NWSL teams or you go play in another country and good luck. And even the local teams were like not financially or anything where you wanted it to be to have a good professional experience. So the experience is changing, the opportunity is changing, and it's well needed, finally.
Yeah. Not to elaborate on this point because you can literally make a podcast out of this, but
oh my gosh,
part of the problem too is that like we're having a tough time identifying talent. Number one, there's competition. Like, if you're an 18-year-old or 16-year-old kid with a lot of athleticism, do you want to play basketball, football, soccer? Other countries don't have these options. And yes, the pay for play, obviously we know why we have to pay to play, but in this country, soccer is for the rich. Whereas in most countries, it's for the poor. I go to Colombia, I see kids with no shoes on with a ball that's ready to be thrown out on a dirt pitch, but they're happy as can be, and they're just learning because of the competition is so deep. And these are some things that obviously, like I said, we can make a whole podcast about. we have plenty of time this offseason. We can probably talk about that. But those are some of the issues that we have. But
dare we say, real quick though, JP, that is the reason why there's been the force of going to college and then going professionally, because instead of you jumping into the NHL, Major League Baseball, Major League Soccer, NBA, whatever, you go to college, you're a big name player. Now, for A, you're given tuition, cha-ching. B, if you're good enough to jump to go play professionally out of high school and instead go to college, you're now getting donors, boosters, all ticket sales. Your team's probably winning more games. You probably are going, deeper into the NCAA tournament. Cha-ching, all those dollar signs are adding up. And business runs the United States, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it runs the world, but it really runs the United States. And now, instead of having those, someone like a LeBron James or Messi had, they go the college route, imagine them playing at whatever college, you name it. It definitely is a whole conversation we can get into, because the access in other countries of just go outside and play doesn't have to be organized, definitely doesn't cost thousands and thousands of dollars of equipment and travel and all this other stuff, is what separates, other countries from the United States. And then as a whole is why U.S. soccer is behind, because everything comes down to the bottom dollar instead of the talent. Whew, whole other conversation, y'all. We went down a rabbit hole.
Just look at this backyard. How many kids are in North Philly, in Camden, that you don't even know that there is probably talent, but they're lower income places and we're not taking advantage of it? Go to Kensington Soccer Club. They're doing fantastic things and they're helping out.
That's
sure.
wild.
Definitely
wild.
Well, guys, you don't have to be a professional player to love sports. You can also be a professional fan. And what better way than with the Game Time app? It's the place to get tickets, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, for stressful situations, there's no such thing with Game Time app. It is the best place to buy tickets. Guys, head on down before the game, hang out with your buddies, and then right before the game, buy the tickets at the best price. And for our first-time users right now, using the promo code PHLY, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. That's right. $20 off. Use the promo code PHLY. And yes, if you want to use it for other events, you can use it as well, not only for sporting events. So thank you to Game Time. Make sure you guys download it. It's a free app. Check it out. Use it for your first purchase. And thank you again, the Game Time app.
Well, JP, I know Jose's asking a good question about the NIL and everything. And I know that could also be a whole hour-long conversation. My quick thought is the NIL does level the playing field in some ways. It still doesn't provide the professional experience. Because going to the NBA, the NFL, whatever, Major League Baseball, although the NFL is also very behind because you can't jump there either. But going to the NBA, for example, instead of staying in college, does not equal out. Yeah. But if you are an athlete, especially a female athlete, and you have a chance to rack up on NILs, I mean, someone like Angel Reese or the LSU gymnast Olivia.
We're the twins that I always see everywhere on social media.
Who?
The twins that keep bouncing.
Oh, yeah, the cadaver, the Cavenger twins or whatever.
The cadaver?
The cadaver? The abracadabra twins?
Cadaver is not correct, guys. Cadaver, okay. Listen, it's been a long day. I've been thinking it's Friday.
You're close, but you're like...
It's Cavender.
It couldn't have been any more further off.
I could have been worse. I could have said worse things. Listen, I've been, in my mind, like we said before, I'm not here. I'm celebrating Christmas. I'm unwrapping presents right now. I'm drinking hot cocoa, watching Hallmark movies. Okay, I'm gone. But okay, the Cavender twins. Yes, there are some athletes, especially on the female side, that are heavily taking advantage. And I blame Jose. He's the one that asked the question. So I think that in all seriousness is helping that the professional stage doesn't seem as much of a need because you can still provide for your family if you are.
You don't take ramen noodles every night anymore.
No, exactly. Although lots of conspiracies there as well because a lot of athletes were still just fine. But I'm all for it too. I wish I had NIL deals. Another thing that's
you imagine Renee on NIL deals?
I'd be on burgers and cake and Hallmark.
Renee's just doing the renegade right before a game on TikTok.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, no. Okay. Yes. Yeah. No. Okay. Moving along. All right. Let's talk about some other exciting things because time is already winding down, JP and Tyler.
Oh, yeah.
As per usual, we're already rolling through this episode. Now, we did see some schedules released.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Where we going, guys?
I don't even know. We saw the MLS schedule released, which is exciting because we now know some dates to have circled on our calendars, which is great. And it's crazy because February will be here before we know it. February 24th things kick off.
Yeah.
Wild. We saw
Right
the
around the corner.
CONCACAF Champions League stage get set officially. What I take from all these schedules, as we're hearing things about Leagues Cup and Open Cup and everything, it's like, oh boy, we are almost back at lots of soccer, JP.
Lots of soccer. I'm so excited. The schedule release is always the best. Like, one of my favorite movies of all time is Fever Pitch. I know that can be controversial,
Wow.
just like Renee's Pitbull.
One of your favorite of all time?
It's one of my favorites. So when me and my fiance met each other, I was like, babe, this is the movie, and if you watch this and you say this is your life, then we might have something here, because it's very reminiscent to my life. But regardless, the part where the guys meet up at the apartment and like the season, they like hand out the tickets, like you get the Yankees game on this date, you get the Orioles game. Like, this to me is that. But obviously I'm not giving out tickets here, but I'm like looking, I'm like thinking, I'm also looking at, there are some tough like early road trips here for the Union. Like, you look at March 16th, Austin, then March 23rd, you're in Portland, back-to-back road games. Then April 6th in Nashville, April 14th in Atlanta. So obviously when the Union have had the success they've had, your schedule is going to be a little bit difficult as well. But it's fun because like I'm like thinking like, where can I be going? There's places in the United States I still need to go see, stadiums I want to cross off my bucket list as well. And so that's what I'm looking at for sure.
I agree. I know Eugene's saying PHOY on tour, probably for a different reason, but it's fine. So I'm going to run with that too. It would be cool to be able to like take a tour of the different stadiums and just go game to game, and not even from a working perspective, maybe just go as a fan.
Is there,
you know?
I mean, obviously like some of these teams share them with football, but for like soccer, any of these stadiums, any of these matches you want to see in person?
For the Union or just in general?
I mean, I guess in general, maybe something you haven't seen before, watched Union, or just a neutral site.
I mean, so I haven't been to any, outside of Red Bulls and here, I haven't been to any other stadiums for a game. You know, I've seen them. I haven't watched a game there. So the sky's the limit. You know, I'm not picky at all. Like, let me know where we going, guys. I mean, I have a lot on my list. I do want to say it was ironic to me because the Union tweeted something out and it made me chuckle. It was about I got to find it again, actually. It was about the Aronson brothers facing off against each other in Germany. And it was like, it's the first, catch them facing off against each other in Germany. It's a sports trip that they're planning for, as a whole fan with Sports Trips Philly. And people were in the comments like, meanwhile, Brendan doesn't even want to be here anymore. And, Pax, you don't even know if they're going to play. So, yeah, go fly all the way out there to Germany and watch them play. I'd be fine with that. I'll fly out to Germany and then not play. I don't see a problem with that at all. I will be there. Count me in. You know what? You need someone to go and watch the Aronson brothers play for 5 minutes. I will cheer for those 5 minutes and more. So I'm not picky at all because I don't go to a lot of games as a fan. Like, I just went to the Sixers game on Monday, and it was so weird to be there not working. It's
fun.
I used to go when I was younger. We would always go to games. We would go to the Philadelphia Kicks, Chargers, the Independents. When I was in high school, I would go to the Sixers games. I would take the train and go to see Liberty games or Knicks games. I'd go see the Washington Mystics play. Like, my parents took us to see all the games. And then when I became an adult, everything is now just work. So it's a totally different experience when you're going as media. Yeah. Versus when you can go and kick back and relax and
have an alcoholic beverage,
have a drink and show off your Christmas socks that I'm showing off.
Yeah, she's barefoot. No, I'm kidding, guys. She's got shoes here.
At least my feet don't smell, I don't think.
It's all good,
guys. I don't know if they do, actually. It's been a long day.
I was hoping...
Put the dogs out.
Hey. I was hoping we would be in Salt Lake this year because that's like on my bucket list. I want to go to Utah so bad, but there's obviously some good options here. Everyone's got their eyes on that Miami match.
I know. I'm excited and nervous and a lot of emotions.
I wonder how much the cheapest ticket is going to be this year.
Probably like $1,000. Just kidding. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding.
That's crazy. Like, I remember, and Tyler can attest to this too, like paying like $20 for good seats, and now you're paying like $1,000 a while. I know it's messy. Like, don't get me wrong, I know it's messy, but like, that's crazy. Paying that much at Subaru Park?
It is. And then, yeah. I mean, I expect it's only going to get higher because the price tag is not only up for games that Messi's playing in, but for the league as a whole. Like, the minimum price is no longer the same minimum price.
Yeah.
Everything, not to mention the market in general is just higher in this world right now. You can't go get anything for cheap. You used to be able to get a sliced pizza or even a bottle of water or something. Everything costs you an arm and a leg. So tickets are no exception. It is going to be much more expensive this year. And then on top of that, we did have, of course, with the CONCACAF Champions League, the stage is set. As we know, the Union are going to be matched up round one, as we talked about in our last show, against Saprissa, which is a great game that we are, or aggregate of 2 legs that we're looking forward to. Take a look at the official draw results. As we know from the Union facing against Saprissa in round one, some others to keep an eye on, like Guadalajara and Forge. We're going to have New England Revolution are going up against CAI. I don't know how to say it.
It was Independiente.
Yeah, that's fine. So there's some exciting ones here, and it's fun to see where the other MLS teams have matched up in round one. Now, the specific stage of games has also been set with the Union and Deportiva Saprissa facing off February 20th for leg one. And then February 27th, leg 2 is at home at Subaru Park. So not only are we excited for the start of the MLS season on February 24th, days prior, we know the Union are going to be flying out to Saprissa in San Jose to face them. So let the traveling begin.
Yeah, it's so one thing we talked about before the season was, or before last year, was the scheduling and just obviously travel to the United States in this league and CONCACAF Champions League, Champions Cup. How difficult that can be. I mean, you look at the Union here to start off this year. You're going to be in San Jose. Obviously, you have the 24th against Chicago at home, and then you'll be back on the 27th against Saprissa again. But then you go on to SKC, and then that goes into Seattle. The 2 games against Austin and Portland I mentioned with. So it's a nice early test here for the Union. I don't know if we really are looking forward to an early test here after the season that we had, but it'll be interesting. I mean, knowing how Philadelphia is, I mean, we're ready to fire Nick Sirianni and trade Jalen Hurts, so I know how we are here. So if this team doesn't start off well to start off February, March, I think curtain call and curtain out is going to start. I don't want to look that far ahead because I don't want to think that negatively, but it is a tough schedule here for the team. And for the Champions Cup, look, 2 semifinals in the last 3 years, so the expectation is there. Saprissa, they just won their 3rd straight trophy, if I'm not mistaken. They just won the Apertura yesterday. This is not the same Saprissa team you saw in 21, so it is not going to be easy. So it's going to be a good early test here for Philly in this early part.
It is, and as you mentioned, that's 3 games in the last week of February. Like season's here, get started, and get on the road, go to San Jose, and then return back home.
This isn't a club that always, like, we don't make our big signings in December. So, like, more than likely, you're looking at a January, February of your big signings. So, yeah.
And then having them need to just jump right in and figure things out, which is also
visa too is always a problem.
Visas are always an issue. But then now on top of all the logistics and paperwork and the background and issues, you now have, go figure out how to play with your new teammates and jump right into a game. Personally, guys, I would like a nice syllabus week. Can we get a syllabus week? Can we not jump right into the test? 3 games in 7 days. Right. Can we have a week of 1 game? Maybe you open up like 1 game. Maybe it's, I don't even know who you'd want to play. I have no idea. But it'd be great if it was local, not in San Jose. That is not only not local, but it's in a whole different part of it's in a different country. Mm-hmm. So it's requiring a flight and a lot of changes and a whole, a lot. So can we just get a syllabus week? That's all I'm asking for. I don't think that's too much to ask for, guys.
I think that we should get 11 players together from PHLY and give them a scrimmage. We're going to lose 100-0, but, let's get their legs a little bit.
Yeah, I love that idea.
It's like when you play, the D3 school in basketball, except it's worse.
Right. Okay. So that's a great point. And I actually was doing a game recently, and it's like in December, most D1 schools right before Christmas play a D3 school, blow them out by like 50, get a chance to get every single player and the water boy on the court. Where is that for the Union? Where's your play?
Where's Georgia Southern? Where's Jacksonville State?
Go play. Go play. I know we played when I was in college. We played the Independents when it was in the spring, but we played them one year, and it wasn't that bad of a game. Go play a nice college. Like go play Drexel or Penn or anyone. Just give us syllabus week, guys. That's all we want.
We'll have to wait for the preseason matchups, but they do typically I think they'll add like Union 2 and like a local college team and this and that. But yeah, a good nice little test would be be nice before that game, before you have to go down to San Jose. That Clearwater 2-3 weeks I will be down there for spring training. It's going to be tough. It's going to getting those guys geared up. So hopefully the Union, if you're listening, if we can get that that live stream on the website again. Be nice.
That's all we ask for. That's all we want for Christmas, guys. Syllabus week, the live stream. What else we got? We need to write our list for Santa.
A $10 million DP.
Yeah, right. Good luck with that. It is crazy. It will be here very, very soon. I know we've got some days to just keep an eye on. Chicago, July 3rd. Wait a minute. I think I did see in the chat, actually. You guys are right, Eugene Krabs. I had to put it together. The math wasn't mathing at first. I was stuck on syllabus week. Chicago, July 3rd. The Union face Chicago on July 3rd, which is what I'm trying to say here, words. And then the Phillies also play against the Cubs July 2nd to the 4th. I think we have a winner here, guys.
I've never been to Chicago either, yo.
I've been to Chicago for a layover twice.
I'm trying to gain some weight out there.
2 + 2 = 1?
I was in Chicago in April, and it was like freezing rain. So Chicago in the summer would be a lot better.
Oh, dude, it'd be sick. I want a Chicago dog, deep dish pizza, Italian beef
Fireworks.
Fireworks. I want
all the things.
I want that.
We want all the things.
That SNL accent, remember, with like Chris Farley? Thou Bears.
The Bears.
I want to talk to those people. They'll fire.
All right, guys, there we have it. We've got to go plan our Chicago trip. No, just kidding. That actually has me very excited. That is awesome.
That's a good one.
That's great. Okay, so so you asked what's circled on the calendar. It is definitely that stretch.
I know a lot of Union fans got June 19th circled. That's Cincinnati one.
There are a lot of games on here to be circled. Inter Miami playing against Red Bulls, there's a lot of people that the Union owe for show.
They end the season with Cincinnati too at home.
So it'll be cool because it's already basically Christmas, which means my countdown is, gosh, it's wild. I don't even need a countdown at this point. I just need to know today's the 21st because I don't ever know what date it is. Today's the 21st. We are 4 days from Christmas, which makes us just 11 days from 2024, which makes us just 11:41, about 50. Oh my gosh, math. 50, 41. Oh my gosh, hold on. I'm doing the math in my head. 24. So
math
that puts
is
us
hard.
65 days away from 65 days away from the season opener against Chicago Fire. Woo! I figured it out.
We're almost there.
I couldn't think if there were 30. I should have just looked at my phone. I couldn't think if there were 30 days or 31 days in January.
I'll definitely have that countdown in my phone because I'm looking forward to the season. Well, I mean, obviously we got to look forward to February 20th. That's the first one.
That is the first one. I forgot. I couldn't. 30 days past September, April. What is it? April, May, and November. There's 31 days in January. Okay, so whatever. My math is not correct. But the point is we're just about 60 days away from that matchup to start off.
Aussies are too quick.
Games. Yeah, very quick. And you know what else can be very quick and helpful for you? That's being able to eat healthy and eat right with one of our new sponsors that we have that do a great job, and that's Factor Meal Kits. And Factor Meal Kits helps, especially as you're working through the hustle and bustle of the holiday season. You're looking for some nutritious, flavorful meals that are easy, that get delivered right to your door, ready to eat. They are America's #1 ready-to-eat delivery service, and they can help you eat well for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. The food is delivered right to your door, but it's not frozen foods. These are foods that are ready to eat and fresh, never frozen foods. And with that, you also get some options. They've got diet-approved deals. They've got something for vegans, veggie options, calorie-smart options, protein plus, all types of meals that fit whatever your lifestyle. Chef-crafted, 35-plus chef-crafted meals every week to support your healthy lifestyle. And over with our friends at Factor Meal Kits, you get to have a chance to have calorie-conscious options so that this holiday, you don't have to worry about skimping on flavor or skimping on eating healthy. And so go check out all they've got at Factor Meals. Head to factormeals.com/union50, union50, and use code UNION50 to get 50% off. The magic number is 50, guys. Head over to factormeals.com/union50. Use code UNION50 to get 50% off. And that's right, 50% off of your purchase today when you use that code UNION50 over at factormeals.com/union50. If you need it one more time, rewind. So that being said, they are your go-to for quick breakfast, lunch to go, grab and go snacks, ready to eat, cold pressed drinks, shakes, smoothies. And again, one more time, that's code factormeals.com/union50. All right, we've talked a lot about the schedules because the stages are set, the schedules are rolling through. And one that we haven't actually touched on quite yet is the Open Cup.
Oh, man. Yeah, so if you guys have missed it, last week, MLS announced that the owners, the Board of Governors, voted on having the senior teams not represent, but the MLS Next Pro teams obviously have the affiliation. Well, remember, right? Not every MLS team has a MLS Next Pro team, so that was a wrench in there. So a couple days passed. We're all marinating. Every fan base, every supporters group, every media member is up in arms, and we're protesting. I don't think the MLS expected that, because then the U.S. Soccer Federation yesterday actually said, ain't gonna happen. You're putting out those senior team players, and you're gonna like it, all right? I think that overall, like, I'll be honest with you, Renee. I know a lot of fans love the U.S. Open Cup, and I completely get it. I was not so much up in arms, but I think the bigger picture kind of concerned me. What are we trying to do? Are we trying to be a global brand? Or are we trying to reach to our local, our local fan bases? Because we're still not a big domestic product here. Globally, I get what they're trying to do. The Apple TV, you're going out after Messi, and you're doing this Leagues Cup. It's a competition with the two best leagues in North America. So I kind of understand where they're going with that. But if the option of rooting out of U.S. Open Cup to emphasize the Leagues Cup, I'm not for. I don't really care for that. I don't need U.S. Open Cup, but if the option is Leagues Cup, I don't need that either. So I do love, me, I love the camaraderie. I love the fan bases all around the league stepping up and voicing their opinion. At the end of the day, this is the longest running tournament in American soccer history. So the MLS would do that was very, very bold, but it blew up in their face real quick, Renee. And I'll be honest, I kind of enjoyed it. It was entertaining. I had my tea yesterday morning watching this on Twitter.
Yeah, I think it's remarkable that right now we're seeing kind of the drama around it. Dun, dun, cue the Law and Order music, because it's like the news comes out, the schedules are getting released, the Open Cup is getting released, and then you have for so many teams that decision, if they do have an MLS Next team, to say, you know what, instead send the Union 2. Don't send our senior team. Don't send our main team, because it's a lot of soccer. And there have been, and see you, Babita, Merry Christmas to you. Welcome, Barbara, as well. Nice to have you here, too. There have been the conversations, even Jim Curtin was mentioning it, of maybe now we have to get more strategic with how we're going through our schedule, that you don't always have your senior team or even your starting 11 being put out there. And the Open Cup is a great example of maybe an opportunity. I know something else that was brought up was the reward money that teams have if they win these individual tournaments, CONCACAF Champions Cup, US Open Cup. That to me is a factor. I think that's a big reason why, teams should be able to prioritize. If you're not going to it's not all about money, guys, but it is. If your reward for winning is significantly less for one tournament versus the other, which would you put all your, eggs into the basket for? So to then see the statements that came out saying like teams are not going to send their senior teams, and the statement that came back saying, oh no, as you mentioned, we believe that the beauty of the tournament is it embodies the only opportunity for every club in the country to prove itself on the pitch, a merit-based competition, aligning our game with the world's game. All these statements are coming out about why there's a need for this camaraderie of having everybody come together. But the problem with soccer especially is there's so many tournaments like this. Like, I know the history of the Open Cup is great, but we also already have, Leagues Cup, CONCACAF Champions Cup. Then there's things like, for each player to have a chance to go play with their country in the World Cup, in the Olympics. There's so many cups that it's oversaturated.
Yeah.
It's supply and demand, guys. There's way too many cups that now the participation in one doesn't feel as special. But if you have a chance to win a lot more money, I know Jose's saying like 100,000, 150,000 per win for Leagues Cup. That's enticing. The numbers, I have it written down somewhere for CONCACAF of what you can, the champion earns $5 million. It says 5. That'd be funny if it's $5. $5 million plus US dollars from CONCACAF and financial distributions if you win the Champions Cup. Like, these are extra benefits. That's why the NBA in-season tournament was so great for the $500,000. You've got to give these players something if you're going to take their time, make them travel, make them play extra. But it is interesting. I mean, I kind of was okay with the fact that don't send your senior team. Send your second team, and it is what it is. You're going to get somebody represented there.
And it goes towards, the bigger issue here with just our game in general. I mean, you saw like the rumors of back again. We're talking again about a European Super League. At the end of the day, it's all about the dollar signs. Jose's giving us the figures about what these teams are making and what we made as a third place team. And yes, like, it makes so much sense to prioritize Leagues Cup because that's money, it's dinero. So
right.
I think that it's tough, but we're going to continue talking about stuff like that. I mean, you're going to hear maybe rumbles next couple of years about a CONCACAF Super League and what are we supposed to do here? So that's where I'm weary as to, are we trying to be the global MLS or are we trying to be the league for the Americans? And that is where I'm concerned. That's my only concern. If it's the Substitutes Leagues Cup, I'm not really crazy about that per se.
Yeah, because the Leagues Cup, there's been this speculation of if they're going to play or not.
Yeah.
I just think you
just manufactured. Like, it's just the whole U.S. Mexico. It's cool, but we already have enough of that.
And this desire to want to bridge the gap within all these soccer leagues is great, but it's got to be done in a way that doesn't, like, you can't have, okay, go play your individual leagues, and then we're going to play another league game, and then you're going to also play countries, and you're like it's too much. It's just too much.
And the other argument is like, in England, like those Premier League teams, they're playing the Prem, they're playing Carabao Cup, they're playing FA Cup, all these different tournaments as well. But those teams also have the funds to have depth to compete in all those tournaments. We just had the MLS rule changes. There was nothing about the DP, maybe a little more money to spend, but obviously, we're all looking for higher quality of players. And so that's the difficult part as well.
If you're going to require more, you have to allow for more. Yeah. And that's the frustration that I know we've talked about a lot with the union specifically is you have to have a roster that's built and designed to be able to withstand all these games. Yeah. Because that's the other part of it. Okay, if you can't send Union 2, now Union 1 needs to have 45 players. I'm just throwing out a number. 45 players that you can have on your roster, and then essentially you're not sending your best. Maybe you're resting some guys, but it's still the union. So you need to at least allow for financially and maybe roster space, cap sizes. I know there's going to be a lot of conversation around it, and Jose's mentioned the MLS PA. There's going to be those absolute conversations because you wanna participate as much as you can, but you don't want to do it at the expense of burning guys out, getting them hurt, or even at the end of the season now they just look exhausted. So something's got to change because we know money does talk and move the needle, and unfortunately that is the driving factor. And if there's this need for having more cups and more games, because it does sell more tickets, as you're talking about Philly versus America, as you're having these different types of games. It gives more, She Believes Cup for the women. There's all these cups, all types of things that happen, whether it's the national team or the leagues, but we need to see more players, more money. The salaries then maybe need to be a little bit higher, for example. Pay people. It
is true. And the one thing is, too, you don't want to piss off the players. They are the engine of this league because that's why, butts get put in seats to watch these players. Mm-hmm. And, Jose says that, and, like, I get it. I get who Club America is. I get that. But, like, you said Philly versus Pittsburgh River. I was like, ooh, I would watch that. Because, it's Philly-Pittsburgh. That's just me because, obviously grew up in America, the Philly-Pittsburgh thing, but I get what he's saying. America is putting butts at the link. The Union are not putting butts at the link, unfortunately.
And that's the other thing. You have these special games that are exhibition games or cup games that now it's business. It's just business. You're now selling tickets at the link. You're now selling tickets, wherever. And that in itself is what has them kind of salivating. And to be honest, guys, it's only going to get worse because Messi's in the MLS. And with more names, And with other names that come out of the MLS, let's be honest, for as frustrating as this may be, it's only getting worse because now that's why we have Messi versus Ronaldo. I mean, these things did not happen before, but the league is like, oh boy, we've got lightning in a bottle. We've got to capitalize on this and we've got to make the most of it. So we're only going to see more to move the financial number because there are more people paying attention to soccer right now. Yeah. There's more of that. So it is exciting. I also want to, as we wrap up here, give an early thank you to the union who are giving us a special gift. I just got a message from them. They're stopping by to provide us with a special holiday gift. And it's one that you can eat, guys.
Hey.
Do you know what that is?
They're going to give us like snake jerky.
Oh my gosh.
Bimbo. I probably shouldn't say that out loud, but bread, bimbo bread.
Tyler, what are you getting?
Wait, what? What just happened? Did I just like slip through a portal for the last 30 seconds?
Well, I'm not going to lie. I feel really weird because, guys, we have these windows here. And it's huge windows. You can't see them, obviously. But it just went from like sunny outside to like nighttime. And I feel like we've been sitting on this show for like 5 hours. I do feel like I slipped into a portal. But I was saying we have a gift coming. Excuse me.
Yeah, and then we started talking about eating snakes and it got weird real fast.
That guy. He made the weird comment, not me.
Well, snake
I was
jerky?
just trying to say what he said bimbos and snake jerky.
I said snakes, eating snakes and bimbos.
It's giving boats and hoes. Snakes and bimbos. Snakes and bimbos.
So what is the question?
I asked you a question.
What do you think the union is giving us tomorrow?
I really promise you we're looking to you because I asked you a legitimate question. As you're like, we just need to wrap this thing up.
Who's the new sponsor? They just got a new sponsor, correct?
Oh, look at you deep diving. They did.
Whoever the new sponsor, whatever the new sponsor is, that's what it.
That's not.
It was the Cento, the Italian like import goods. We're getting cutlets. We're not Giants fans.
You think we're getting some cutlets?
Maybe some like jarred Italian goods.
Yeah, something from Cento.
Peppers.
Okay. Well, sorry to disappoint you guys. It's just cookies. It's just some holiday cookies, actually. But
what do you mean? What do you just? It's
I
just
mean, you said
cookies.
snake jerky and
my options were
cookies?
snake jerky or cookies, and you're disappointing me with cookies.
Yeah, just some delicious sugary holiday cookies, the good ones. So thank you to the Philadelphia Union for giving us some holiday treats that are not snake jerky or cutlets.
Although I would try snake jerky.
I would too. I'm a weirdo. I love jerky.
Yeah, same.
Do you think it'd look like the little beef tips?
No, it would be like a regular
like
beef jerky stick, but it would just be snake. Yeah, they make it into everything. You get alligator.
What makes it a jerky? Is it the shape?
It's the way that it's made.
It's like
and
it's
preserved,
like dehydrated, right?
Yeah,
like
it's preserved. Like exactly.
It's the best snack ever.
Agree. It's too expensive though.
Yes.
I don't know. Jerky's kind of weird to me. It's like a beef stick. It's weird. It's like a weird thing.
My fiance hates it too. So
Yeah, but it's a little drier than a beef stick. Like
I need to like dip it in something, but that defeats the purpose.
A barbecue sauce with it?
Yeah, like I need to put some
might
A1
be
sauce on
terrible
it.
no.
All right, it's time for us to
This is
go.
a PHLY jerky talk today.
We are going to have one day, guys, we are having a PHLY food special because every show we end up talking about food or other things, of course. So I feel like we need to just like lean in fully to a food conversation. But we've officially we've gone off the rails. We've gone down some deep rabbit holes here of some conversations around various things. But most importantly, we just enjoy that you guys are here. Hit that thumbs up button. This is our last time seeing you until after Christmas, which is wild. I can't believe it's Christmas, guys. I'm going to cry. This is why you celebrate Christmas all month. And you celebrate until January 15th because Christmas Day is too fast, but Christmas season is not over yet. So we hope you all... Was that to me? No. Oh. Okay. So with that, we hope you all have a very Merry Christmas. We will have an episode for you next week. We'll be dropping the times and details for our live episode next week. We're going to have a unique schedule since it is the holidays. But we will be back. So for all of us here at PHOY, happy holidays to whatever you celebrate. Merry Christmas. And for Tyler, JP, Larry, myself, Renee, we'll see you guys after Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Doop.
all silly like the mayor.